Brilliant. Okay, I think we have most people in. So yeah, hi, my name's Sam Wenman. Obviously, you've come to the Applying to Bath session. I've also got Jasmine Saunders here. Can you say hello, Jasmine?
Hi everyone, I am a student at the University of Bath. I've done 3 years at Bath, so I know quite a lot about lots of different things. I study social work and applied social sciences, but I have friends in a huge variety of courses, and I'll hopefully be able to answer some of your questions.
Brilliant, thank you. Yeah, what we're going to do, I thought I would just very quickly just go through a couple of very quick facts about Bath, in case you're totally unfamiliar with the university, and then mostly just wanted it to be a Q&A, so you can just chuck some questions into the chat and we'll get through to them at the time. Okay, so some fast facts about Bath and applying to Bath. Let's see. Okay, we are a top 10 university, so over the last few years in you know, a few of the sort of major newspaper leagues, we're coming out well. Obviously, you've got quite a lot of information at your fingertips to find out exactly what we may or may not be good in, and that, when I say we, I mean all universities. So when we say things like that, it is important, but it's worth looking at the details, specifically sort of course to course. Generally, we do very well for student experience as well as student prospects, and I'll talk a little bit more about why this is the case, but suffice it to say at this point, it's employment and developing employable, skills that employers are looking for is really, really key to, that is at the heart of our degrees, really. We also, as I said minutes ago, we do really well for student experience. So every year there is a survey for the current graduates, and they ask them all sorts of questions about their experience at Bath. So it's actually quite a good survey to get a sense of what the satisfaction essentially of students. It's called a student satisfaction survey, and we do really well. And again, that comes, you've got a lot of information about individual courses as well. You can find out how they're feeling about their teaching, their learning, the assessments involved, and whether they're getting what's kind of what we're saying is it's kind of what's on the tin, as it were. You can get it from them. The university, if you're not sure, we have essentially 3 faculties and 1 school. We are a small university, really. We've got 18,000 students, but actually that's quite small compared to quite a few and our 2 other partner universities here today. We do have quite a large international contingent. That's possibly, I mean, what they are spread throughout the faculties and school. However, quite a few are in the School of Management. So essentially, it's around about a third come from around the world, and so we take a pride in being quite a sort of multinational, international kind of environment. And that's quite important in terms of that employability I mentioned earlier, as is professional work placements. So one of our sort of unique selling points, I guess, for us, and I'm going to finish on this bit before we go to some Q&A, is the central role of placements in our university. So when we were founded sort of 50 odd years ago, it was written into our foundation that we would want at least sort of 2/3 of our students to be on a placement by we founded it, as I say, in sort of 1960, and that was then 1975 was the aim to get 2/3 on, and that has remained more or less the number. It's 68% at the moment, but it's really key. Now, all of our undergraduate courses have options to do a placement. On 1 or 2 of the courses, it is mandatory. So some of it's worth looking at, like social work is a mandatory placement. There are also in architecture and accounting and finance. But you can have placement options on all of them. And as a result, we do very well in sort of employability figures. As I say, that is something very important to us. I should also say one last sort of thing I wanted to say on the campus. If you haven't been to Bath, we've got the beautiful old city of Bath. In fact, I think I've got a slide. I've gone past it, actually. Let me just go back. Where is it? There it is. You can see the picture there. So that's our campus, and you can see the city of Bath in the back. And we are one of the sort of safest universities in the world. That's quite important to us, in the country, and get rated regularly as that. So we're a safe, small community, but a very vibrant and multinational one, as I mentioned earlier. We have close ties with the city, and many students in their second year onwards do go and live in the city. All right, without any further ado, because it's only a short session, I'd rather turn things over to questions. So I'm just going to get that up, and then Jasmine and I can try and answer that. Whoop, let me stop sharing. Okay. So I'm getting used to this format myself. Jasmine, do you have access there to the questions? Oh, you're muted, hang on. I'll mute you there.
Thank you. I was trying to send you a message in the chat to be like, I'm muted. I don't think I can see the whole chat at the moment, so just fire them at me.
Let me open it. Yeah. Okay, so we've got first question. Someone talking about mechanical engineering. They want to work in Formula One. Heard that placements are very beneficial. Okay, so the question there essentially is, can you apply to the course without the placement and then apply to a placement later? The short answer is yes, you can. However, it's more difficult to do it that way than to apply for a course with a placement and then decide you don't want to do the placement. I don't know, Jasmine, if you've got any experience of any of that.
I have friends who have kind of flicked between them. I think on some courses placements are more kind of common than others. So something like mechanical engineering, I'd say that's incredibly kind of popular for people to go on placement. Whereas maybe something like sociology, maybe some people prefer to kind of go into doing a master's after uni and doing research. I mean, it depends. Plenty of people do placements from sociology as well. I'd agree. Go for placement if you're even considering it a little bit, because it's so easy to flick off of it if you don't want to. Also, you said something about being interested in like Formula One or something, and I'd say alongside placements, I know that there's Team Bath electric kind of racing, and I know someone who did that alongside their uni, did a placement at Williams, and now they've got a grad job at Williams Formula One team. So I just think having those industry links and also doing kind of the societies and the placement, it's going to make you super employable. Definitely.
We have, that's quite a sort of a conveyor belt we've got going actually, because we've got strong links because of our Team Bath racing with the sort of Formula One and racing in general. So that is quite a common story. Okay, so question here, I hear that Bath is an expensive city to live in. How do students cope? I've got a few ideas on that, but I think it'd be better to Jan maybe give her experience first.
I would say it is an expensive city to live in. It would be a lie to say that's not true, but compared to London, it is cheaper. And I would say it depends what you're looking for. My house, I knew the budget that I wanted to stick within, and I didn't move from that. And it meant maybe I had to hunt for my house a little bit more, not really, but I knew what my budget was and I wasn't going to budge really on it. I think I work as well. I think there's a lot of opportunities to work alongside your study. I mean, me right now, this is my job, talking to students. Some people work at the SU bars and things, but everyone has access to student finance. I mean, everyone's different situation is different, but definitely looking into that. But I think I've never felt this is so expensive that I'd rather I went somewhere less expensive. It's just kind of an ongoing joke of like, oh, the houses in Bath are quite expensive. And if I went to uni in Coventry, I'd probably have a bit more money, but then I wouldn't be in the beautiful city that is Bath, that's a World Heritage City, and be able to walk to the Roman baths from my house. So I think it's just kind of pros and cons. It's not too expensive. I mean, if you went and ate out in the city centre every single day, you probably wouldn't have any money. But we're students. I live in walking distance to Lidl now, and I'm doing fine. You don't have to just sacrifice eating proper meals and kind of having a good time just because it's expensive.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. I think when it comes to finances, obviously, you know, we're attracting students from all around the world, from all different backgrounds, and we're going to get people who have got, you know, luckily enough to have family support, and those that absolutely don't. And as a result of that, I mean, universities are prepared to, you know, are prepared for this, and really want to help out where we can. So we have quite a lot of scholarships and bursaries and hardship funds. If you go onto our website and you type in our scholarship and bursaries, we've got a number of support systems that we can put into place prior to you even arriving at the university, as well as you know, Jasmine was saying there, it's really a case of making sensible decisions about where you live, who you live with. We have a range of different sort of accommodation prices, ranging from around sort of £75 a week through to you know, 200 or so. It depends on the type of accommodation you want to live in, those kinds of things. So you can be kind of frugal, you can sort of budget and manage. You can find work, and even in this current virtual situation, as Jasmine's saying, she's working today, and we have plenty of student ambassadors working with us, and around the campus still, despite the situation, there is still opportunities to work. And our placements, it's worth mentioning that there's a fair few placements that are paid, not all of them, and there's no guaranteed neither of a placement or you're getting a paid placement, even if you get a placement. It's just something to be aware of, though. You know, there are some that get paid fairly well, so that can help during that year. Yeah, it's really important to, it's a really good question. You know, you need to get a sense of places. I would suggest, if and when we are more able to travel around, if you are able to come to Bath, you know, come have a look and get a sense of the place. That's really important. But until then, you can go on our virtual experience web pages, and you can get a real sense, and you can go and visit the accommodation, you can look at the prices, you can get, there's lots of information there about food and drink, prices of those sorts of things. So, you know, make a budget beforehand, get a sense of what might be what you need and what it might cost and that kind of thing. Okay, question here, what would make you stand out to a Bath admissions officer? Do you want me to start with that one, Jasmine?
Yeah,
Or,
I think so.
yeah, so essentially, I think many of our courses are highly competitive. There are those more competitive than others, and you can find that out online. But let's say on average we are looking at kind of 3 A's as an entry requirement, and therefore grades alone are not going to cut it. What makes people stand out is, I would say, really good, thorough research of the course and an understanding, a demonstrable understanding of the course, and a passion for the subject. And that is largely done through the personal statement. This is what I was trying to sort of get across earlier in my personal statement session. If your personal statement demonstrates an awareness of the courses and what's involved in the courses, and that's not just the subject content, but also the transferable and sort of softer skills that would be involved, and your personal statement demonstrates that you not only understood that, but you've actually spent some time kind of developing those skills purposefully, I think that can be really important. So if you have had opportunities to do extracurricular but relatively academic focused work, those are the kinds of things we would be interested in. So I'm thinking things like evidence of independent research. It could be an EPQ, it could be a Welsh back, it could be the skills part of the Welsh back, that is. It could be that you've done an extra A levels. It could be that you've done some wider reading, those kinds of things. It's that sort of more academic, extracurricular sort of passion, and if you've got evidence of those kinds of things, these can really help. You need to, when you're applying to competitive universities, and this goes definitely for the other two that are here today as well, you need to be showing that you understand the course, that you're aware of what you're getting yourself into, and that's got to come across. I don't know if you want to add anything there for yourself, or if there was anything from a social work background.
Well, for me, when I wrote my personal statement, it was actually for a different course, because I did a first year of international development with economics, and for that I kind of focused on, I did an extended essay because I did the international baccalaureate at college, so that's kind of the same thing as an EPQ, and I spoke about how that helped me with my research skills because I was doing a humanity and a lot of that focuses on research. But now when I'm doing social work, I've helped out with interviews. I think only pharmacy and social work interview for undergrad. I think that's right. So most people don't have to worry about an interview, but for social work, they really want you to show that you have people skills. So people in their personal statements focus on that. So it's about kind of researching the course. And obviously for your personal statement, you don't do it specifically to the university. But if you really want to go to Bath and do pharmacology, then you need to look at kind of what they teach and what skills you think they'd need, and then tailor your personal statement to show I have these skills and I'm passionate about this. So you can kind of tailor it to a uni without saying, I really want to go to Bath to do pharmacology. They can tell that you are passionate about it.
Absolutely. I think if you're wanting to go to Bath and study pharmacology, and you've got your other courses as well, there's going to be a lot of similar skills and content across all of those 5 choices, and those are the things you pick out, and therefore you will be demonstrating in your personal statement that you are aware of each one of those and what is involved, and that's the kind of way to do that. We have a question here about medical placements. What kind of medical placements are there? Well, we don't actually have a medicine course here at the University of Bath. We're, as I mentioned earlier, quite a small university. Focus a lot on STEM, but not entirely. As we've got social scientists here today, or social worker. We do have elements of that. So we don't do law, we don't do medicine, we don't have history or English or arts subjects on the whole. So what we do have, we have some related courses, and I'll get to the placements element in just a minute, but we have biomedical science, which is quite popular. We have pharmacy and pharmacology, and we have a lot of students who are thinking about medicine who may put us down as that 5th option, that's the non-medical option. Depending on the course, it might open up different things. So we've got some that might open up to research in the NHS, some that's more based on becoming a pharmacist, those kinds of things. There's drug discovery, which again is more academic, and is very much about academic research of drugs and medicines. So in terms of placements, it really does depend, and more widely, I can stop talking about medicine, but this would also be the case. We have a central placements team, and also we have people in each of the faculties and schools working for their particular subjects. So the placements team will invariably in the first year try and have a discussion with you about what you want, what your aims and objectives are in a placement, and then they will you'll be able to attend fairs with different employers and things like that. And we've got links with 30,000 different employers, and this is around the world, so we really have a vast network of placements. And so someone's asked what kind of medical placement. Let's say with us, it's really a case of there are a broad range of things. You can work locally in a local firm, you could work across the country, you could work internationally, you could work from a small medium-sized business up to an international, so a multinational. So it really is quite a broad range of things, and you can tailor it towards you. You don't have to go with someone we've already set up with. You can find place, or you can ask our team to help you find placements in somewhere completely new. So it's a very flexible program. And let's say you're an engineer and you decide actually you quite like to do a placement in a finance bank. We can also sort those sorts of things out. So there's lots of, you can work with other departments, with other faculties. You don't have to do something specifically in your area, because as I was mentioned earlier, degrees, so I mentioned this on the other one, the personal statements, but doing a degree opens a lot of doors in itself. So you can think more broadly for your placement, and that's perfectly normal and quite common. I don't know, Jasmine, if you wanted to add to anything there.
No, I think you covered it. I think it is important to stress, that I know a lot of people that haven't done a placement in exactly their subject because they might be thinking, oh, I don't know if this is for me, or I think I might be interested in finance. I know when everyone comes back off placement, they have to do a poster to say what they did on placement. And what I did in my first year was just had a nose around this poster presentation, just because it's really interesting to see what people have done, and also to consider whether I wanted to do a placement. And there was one that said, what does graphic design have to do with sociology? And they had basically decided that they think they want to do graphic design, so they had gone into a placement, and their whole poster was explaining the fact of how they've used all their skills from their course in this placement. And I found that so interesting, that you're definitely not limited. And going on a placement anywhere, it gives you so many skills that you'll become immediately more employable, even if you end up wanting to go into a job that's not in the same sector as your placement was in.
Thank you. Okay, we've got a couple of questions, and I'm aware of time, so we'll quickly get to these. Would Welsh Baccalaureate have any effect on entrance grades? Yes, the skills part of the Welsh Baccalaureate, the EPQ, certain maths qualifications, and certain sort of university other exams do all have a possible impact. There is our alternatives offer page, is where you want to look on our website. If you go to our website and just type in alternative offers, they'll give you lots of information. So with the Welsh Bac, if you get, I think it's grade A, you'll get 1 grade reduced on your standard offer, and that's the same for EPQ as well. As mentioned there, if your predicted grades are slightly lower than entry requirements for the course you want to do, can you still get in? For example, the entrance requirement is A and the predicted grade is C. Yes, you can still get in. Every year, some students who have lower predicted grades than the sort of standard offer that we advertise still do manage to get in. As to whether I could literally say a grade A to a C, to be honest, it's impossible to say. Each course is slightly different. For the more competitive courses, again, I'm thinking sort of psychology, architecture, accounting and finance, they're the ones that probably are most competitive. Maybe a grade A to a C jump would probably be a little bit too far. But A to B's does happen, but on perhaps some of the less competitive A to C does. So really what you've got to do is, I can't give you a standard answer. I can give you a standard answer to the first part. Yes, people do get in with lower grade predictions, but for the actual course that you're applying to, you're better off getting in touch with our admissions team and just kind of asking them, because it kind of depends as well on how many people that are actually applying to the course that year. It's not really a one standard answer every year, one size fits all. Yeah, there is hope, as it were, so do get in contact with our admissions team and ask them that question directly for the course that you're interested in. What happens with the entry grades with dyslexia? So what happens, someone's asked about entry grades and will grades be lowered if somebody has a learning difficulty, specifically, well, in this case it was dyslexia. We have, on the UCAS form, you have a place to put in information about any sort of disabilities or learning issues, those kinds of things. And we also have a gosh, the name's gone out of my head now, a sort of contextual form that you can fill in as well to talk about anything that's had an impact on your learning, whether that be something medical or something beyond that in your family. So it's worth filling those things in, get as much information you can. The chances are you wouldn't necessarily get a lower grade, but it will be taken into account in regards to your application. All of the context of your learning is taken on in those decision making. Are you more competitive if you've taken part in Discover Bath extracurricular stuff? Discover Bath does potentially lead to an alternative offer if you do well in the project part of that particular program. Are you more competitive? Yes, you would be in regards to that alternative offer, and so that will allow you that. It wouldn't. You're more competitive in as much as if you're up against people who have not done anything like that. Haven't done the independent research, haven't visited universities, because that's what we're looking for. We're people, as I mentioned earlier, we're looking for people who've gone above and beyond their classroom stuff and done those kind of academic opportunities. And so obviously that is one that's very much designed around our courses and our style of study and teaching. And so yes, in some regards, yes, but if other people have done other things with other universities in a similar vein, they would be of sort of equal merit. I want to study electrical engineering, but I didn't pick physics. Would I be able to get in? Oh, that's a really good question. It's always, you get one question that's like down to the level of detail and I think, oh man, I should know that. Yeah, physics, I'm 99% sure that you do need physics. So I'd have to double check on the website. I don't know if I see Jasmine typing away there. Maybe she's having a
Give
quick
me a
look for me.
sec.
I
Yeah.
can tell you, but yeah, I'm 99% sure that physics is a requirement. And when it does say a particular course requirement on, there isn't any flexibility in that, I'm afraid. Okay, I've just been given, well, 30 seconds ago I was given my 1-minute warning. So we're going to be cutting out, and hopefully Jasmine can find that in time. No pressure. But anyway, if you go to our course website and look that up, right at the bottom, scroll right down to the bottom, it's got the entry requirements. I'm afraid to say I'm 99%
It says
sure.
mathematics and a second science or technology subject.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I'm glad I had some element of doubt in there, but good. Okay, cool. All right. Well, I think if there are any other questions, if you could leave them for the panel at the end. It doesn't really matter if you do ask some sort. It's not ideally meant for specific questions to universities, but if you've got any burning questions, I'm sure we can answer them there. Okay. Right. I'm going to sign off there, and we'll see you in the next meeting.